one of the problems if you are Meghan Markle, you just hope, one assumes, I think anyway, at least, that actually you don't necessarily notice when, if you're a so-called friend, she decides to change tack, the sort of thing I mean. We saw that on the Netflix cooking show with Mindy Kaling, I thought Mindy came across really nice. I felt a little bit sorry for her, in fact. She did look stunned when Meghan spat out well, don't you know I'm not called this anymore? If you're a friend, you're a friend, right? Wouldn't you have discussed that off camera? Why did that need to be on camera to make her look little? And I thought she was really disrespectful when she said her look. It's just her accent, but once again, Meg, oh my look, as if, have you spent any time with this woman? Because clearly you'd understand the way that friend speaks, We all have accents, I get told off for my northern accent sometimes. People say, oh, I can't understand you, Neil. But of course, we all go into dialect if we're tired or, you're back in the area, don't you? That's the way it is. But of course, with Meghan, no, nothing can ever be that simple. But what someone is now finding is literally this. Oh yes, you see, they went out of their way to do Meghan a favour, only to be found, well, once again, cut off is imminent. As ever, let me explain. Only good to see you today, chums. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm glad, by the way, you enjoyed the video about food for thought and the Bedfordshire clangers. I think a lot of people thought we were talking about the clangers. Do you remember them? Oh yes, the TV show from the late 60s. They're still repeated now on some of the channels. Mad, isn't it, when you think people speaking in clanger language? Yeah, well, I think we do now, don't we? The thing is, when you look at shows like that, weren't they innocent, and just so nice? Everybody wanted to watch the clangers, but I'm glad you enjoyed the food. And I think it was a lady from Canada, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but she said something about chips with cheese and gravy on top. Well, we have that. A lot of you said, well, we have that. It's a different variant. Lovely though, isn't it? I know, nothing for your figure. I know, but it's just delicious. These are the foods that you're not supposed to eat, but if somebody presents them to you, you just think, well, will anybody see? And then you just end up eating them all, don't you? Because in the end you think they're just too nice. Although a good friend of mine, a beautiful actress, Jenny Seagrove, told me this, and I've never forgotten it. She said, there's nothing that poached egg on toast can't fix. And I thought that is a lovely sentiment. And it's true. If somebody just does that for you in a cup of tea and you're feeling a bit fed up, here's your tea, cup of tea, poached egg on toast, you do feel better, don't you? Yes, you see what I mean? It's the simple things in life. Some might say the same thing, of course, about Meghan Markle, the simple things in life, because when she appeared recently over on the chat show in America, the Drew Barrymore daytime TV show for CBS, well, apparently, she thought this was going to do wonders. And it didn't, did it? Really, it was a loving fest. And I felt a bit sorry for Drew Barrymore because clearly, she's a very savvy girl, very talented. Don't worry about that. But I think she knew that she had to play this game with Meghan. Everything was structured. And as I told you in a previous video, the only thing that wasn't structured was the fact that she brought the picture out. This was supposed to be the surprise, but Meghan did not like the deviation away from her central character. You see, Drew, I can tell you, was not allowed to ask any sort of questions about anybody else. Nothing. It just had to be about Meghan being fabulous, what an inspiration she was, all of that sort of stuff. You get the picture. Now, where this gets really interesting is, though, she really pulled a fast one on Drew Barrymore, as she did with Mindy Kaling on the Netflix show, because Meghan, as you know, announced that she was now going to be Meghan Sussex. And well, everybody knows that. No, nobody'd known it, You're just Meghan Markle, cable TV actress to me. But there you go. Anyway, it got a little bit worse, you see, because then, of course, she forced Drew to introduce her across the airwaves as Meghan Sussex. And this was going to be, because apparently Drew was that powerful, everybody was now going to call her that, dump the Markle, and this was going to be the thing. It didn't happen. But worse than that, when they were putting the podcast together and, the people behind the, new production said, oh, well, what is it then? Meghan Sussex? We think it might be better with Meghan Markle. No kickback whatsoever. No. Now this time around, she's decided it's better as Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, talking about founders and business and girl talk or whatever you want to call it. And seemingly And this is what I love as well. Seemingly Mindy Kaling now is refusing to answer the question about the Meghan Sussex thing because she doesn't know where she is and she's frightened to get it wrong. And these are supposed to be friends, right? And this is where you kind of think, if you treat your friends literally like dishcloths, what chance do other people have? Now, according to the source, as ever, I have to say allegedly, but what was fabulous about this was apparently Drew sent a few texts to sort of say, you know, not to Meghan, because she wouldn't bestow her phone number on somebody as lowly as Drew. Oh, no. You'd have to go through the right people to speak to Megsy. But apparently, you know, she sent these texts to the team saying, well, you know, what is it then? Should we be retitling this or whatever? Nothing. Cut dead zilch. Now, did Drew get one of those nice complimentary boxes? I think you know the answer. Yes. When you're in a jam with Meghan, you're definitely in a jam. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.